go to another weekend. And surely next weekend will be a cracker. Kotoko versus Obuasi, Ashgold rather, and Heart of Oak versus Accra Great Olympics. But coach, what a performance, a team performance by Heart of Oak today.
Of course, I mean, Brekum Chelsea got the best out of Accra Heart of Oak. The first 45 minutes, I made mention of this is a PHOBIA performance, and they deserved the victory. They created decent chances, and I believe that Heart of Oak played so well. They played the type of game that some of us are expecting them to play. But I believe that Brekum Chelsea didn't disgrace themselves. They conceded 2 goals in the first half, and they came in very strongly, created some decent chances, but Tata was very good today. He posed his anticipation, his reflexes, and his command and his communication skills were there. For me, House of Folk Samoa do excellent display, and I think that Brekum Chelsea better like next time.
What's different about Hearts today, Shabban? What did you notice about the team performance today?
Today they were extraordinary. They were running on the field, all defending, all attacking, and that is something that is made the game very interesting. At a point, we didn't want to miss any action because of the pace of the game. And coach will testify. We didn't want to miss any action.
Want to go out and relax
because of the pace of the game. And Brekum Chelsea played well. You could clearly see that they knew the plan that they came in with. And you could see that from the flanks, the left side, the right side, they were running and putting pressure on Radio Boca. And at a point, I felt the man of the match should be given to Radio Boca because of how Stephen Amakuna threatened him, Kofi also threatened him. He was still standing firm, playing so well for Brekum Chelsea. I think it's a good game. Heart of Oak have made some couple of records in the game, 5 consecutive wins. And I said earlier on that in their last 4 games, 2 home wins, winning 2-0, 2-0 at the Accra Sports. And this is the 3rd time they are winning 2-0 at the Accra Sports, making it a number in their home game. So when they are going into any home game or playing at the Accra Sports, you expect to see 2 goals in the game, and their away game you expect to see 1 goal. Now, they are not conceding. It tells you that Coach Samuel Bodu have solved their defensive problem. At a point, it was Nuru Sule and Mohamed Al-Hassan. There were a lot of faults over there, and so Robert Ado's presence have solved that defensive problem. And anytime the opponents are playing, they try so much to move to the Robert Ado's direction, which is not working for them. So I think they should try using Mohamed Al-Hassan and see if he can expose Heart to Folk.
Coach, what would opponents of Hearts also take from this? Looking at this game, the way they played together as a unit, created a lot of chances. They only scored 2. What would you take? Great Olympics, for example, next weekend. Would watch this and think, well, it's going to be a tough game.
Hearts have consistency in terms of player selection and in terms of their game plan. 1 or 2 changes, especially up front. Olympics have also kept their consistency. 1 or 2 changes up front. So it's going to be a very good game come Sunday next week. But I don't know whether the Kwe brothers and then Salif Ibrahim and then Fie Banye will join the U23 team on Tuesday to Japan.
It's an interesting one because, I mean, it's a national assignment and you're duty bound to answer the national call. But then the GPL is at its peak, literally, and it's a game between 2 hot rivals. It's a big game, and these players have been called to national duty, so it's tricky for their coaches.
Because we're playing Ashanti Good at the Boise.
Right. How many players are they?
Ibrahim Moro and then Mubarak. These are key players in Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Mediama will play home to Karela, the leading top scorer of the league, Diawusi Taylor, with 16 goals with Karela. He will probably miss the game for Karela. How are they going to take it? I don't know how the FA has planned this, whether the next weekend's game will be postponed or the teams will not. As I know,
with this momentum,
as I know, as of folk, I've placed a call to the coach of the U23 that their players are not going. And I don't know whether about Olympics.
They place a call for their players to be excused or they are not going. You can't say your players are not going. You can ask for your players to be excused
for what reason?
Oh. So that's the question you need to ask.
For which reason?
No.
Like they are being excused because of the Olympics game?
No. That, look, we have an impending game coming up. Can our players be excused?
Then Olympics is also going.
Absolutely.
Can you excuse our 2 players? Because that game against Asofo, Olympics will definitely need the Kwe brothers in that game. Asofo will definitely need a few Banye, and of course, Ibrahim Salifu in their game. The Kotoko game, they will need Mubalik, they will need Mary Moro. So it is up to the FA and the clubs to come to a consensus or something.
Yes, and coach, per the calendar, next week, I think it's friendly, international friendly. I don't know.
So you're not duty bound.
Yeah, so the league can be postponed if they will be playing FA Cup. Fine, because without Samuel Ashikwe, Maxwell Abekwe, Olympics and Heart of Oak game wouldn't be a tough game. We want to see these players, Samuel Ashikwe, tormenting the defense of Heart of Oak. We want to see Maxwell Abekwe also playing, and all the Heart of Oak players. Salif Ibrahim is on top.
But seriously, a friendly match for a whole league of a country to be postponed? I don't know.
I'm sure the FA would consider all options and do the right thing. And I know they'll do the right thing.
So what's the right thing?
Because the momentum of the GPR at this moment to postpone it for friendly matches would not be wise. But then I'm sure the FA have a plan B, whatever that is, because Kotoko lose players, Olympics, Heart of Oak, that comes with it. So it's an interesting one. It's an interesting problem for Prosper Harrison-Ado, Keto Kreku, and the rest of the national team coaches to think about.
Tuesday 12 in the afternoon.
It's just around the corner.
They're playing to Japan.
Coach, what do you know? You're smiling.
So let's see what happens.
What more do you know?
What I know is that the team is leaving here on Tuesday.
Yes, we all know that.
They will play
but you're smiling because
they will play on the 4th.
Would the players be on board?
And on the 8th.
Would the players be on the plane?
The coach, as it stands now, the coach is going with the team. He's going with all his players who are in camp. But as to whether the clubs are going to release their players to go after this weekend game, because the coaches are in Pram waiting for their players to return by tomorrow morning and then train in the afternoon and then probably leave on Tuesday. Will the players leave their team to go to Pram? It's another thing altogether.
Richard Bedu and Leo Sitila are with the team in Pram now, because just after their game on Friday, they have to prepare themselves, leave Karela and join. And a report Tuesday they are leaving. And as it stands now, there is nothing. And you said something that the FA would have to do the right thing. There is no right thing than postponing the league, because arrangements have been done.
You postpone the league. That is.
What do we do? No Samuel Ashikwe, no Maxwell Abekwe, no Salif Ibrahim.
Coach, what would you advise if a call was put to you for advice? What advice?
I'll wait for the call.
You wait for the call. And what would you say when the call comes?
Let the call come.
It's an interesting dilemma, but I don't think it's an end of the world kind of dilemma. This can be easy. We have players who can.
And I'm saying that I don't know whether it has happened before. A friendly match for a whole league to be postponed.
I don't think.
I don't know, but as you said, the FA will do the right thing, and so let's wait until Tuesday if the team leaves here.
Okay, so talking about the right thing being done and big games coming up, of course, next week, Midiama and Karela will start on Saturday. This is part of our games we'll be showing next week. Kotoko and Ashgold on Sunday as well. That's an interesting game. And then Heart of Oak versus Great Olympics on that Sunday. Monday is Lagos Cities versus Inter Allies. They've got a win away from home. They'll be confident to try and get another 3 points. Lagos Cities.
Of course, they went away to Obuasi to play Pasanti Gold. Inter Allies sat at the ship Midiama by 3-0. So it's going to be a very difficult game for both sides. For Lagos Cities, for now, 35 points. They are sure of being out of the relegation for now.
Not quite.
I'm saying that 35 for now. They are sure.
For now.
For now, yes. They have 35.
But there's no for now. We have 7 matches to go.
It's happening that we are not playing the league on come next week. They still have 35 points. When the league is going to be postponed.
Are you talking about long term in terms of being safe or just this weekend?
Just this weekend.
Right.
Just weekend.
Okay.
And then the games between Kotoko, Ashanti Gold, and then House of Folk, Accra Heart. That's the big game.
Yeah. And the momentum is just right.
The coach of House of Folk said, playing match after match. He's not competing with anybody.
Of course he is. We all know he is.
So he's not competing with anybody.
But he is.
The game between House of Folk and Accra Heart.
So
is it a revenge or a defeat? This is a crucial game.
Could we
I wouldn't like to miss this the Quay brothers, and then Salif Ibrahim. And then
could we see some surprises next weekend? Because this week has kind of gone according to script in a way. Maybe Lagos City is getting the 3 points away, and Inter Allies beats Midyama 3-0. All the results.
Stars went to the team to pick a point.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, Hartlepool, no surprises there. It was a good game. They didn't walk all over it. They had a good game. They played well. Wafa, 2. Bushandos 1. Not surprising, but the form Wafa are in. It's Allies, though. 3-0 against Midyama, who were or are still potentially title contenders. What has happened to them? Midyama, Liberty Professionals 2-1. They came from a goal down to win that game. And the rest, 1-1, Great Olympics, great game that was. Goalless, Kotoko, Adriana Stars. Kotoko, perhaps if they had been more adventurous and bold, could have stolen the 3 points there.
Yes, I said it. Barreto, for me, he had it wrong. And I will repeat
in the first half.
In the second half, I will repeat it on any day. Because he knows his team. Latif and Abila, I said in the last 3 games against Liberty Professionals, against Wafa, he was your game changer. And what is the problem? I mean, you are struggling to have a central midfielder in your team. You tried Kayeke in the game against Wafa, it didn't work. And in the first 45 minutes against Adriana, it didn't work. The 3 players up front, you talk of Adumako, you talk of Kumi, and of course, Safutila, were all off. But I was wondering, a half-fit player in the person of Augustine Oka will be used in the game against Adriana. It all bounces to the coach. And at the end of the day, if it didn't go well, I will not put the blame on the doorsteps of the players or the management. It goes to the doorsteps of the coach.
Which he would accept, or he should accept. Perhaps his trip away took him a little bit away from the actual issues, or his he wasn't around for a couple of days.
Yeah, I'm sure he left a assistant planner. That his assistant were able to, or they had a training session with them, and when he returned, he had a report. And I'm sure he'll be communicating with them. When he was communicating with them, that's the coaches, the assistant coaches over there. So I believe that he knew what he was up. And for me, Kotoko should have at least scored in that game that they played against Adriana. It was a game of 2 halves. Adriana had the first half, but as I said, it was Razak Abalora. For me, fantastic. He saved Kotoko on a couple of occasions, but I believe that in the second half, Barreto didn't do well for Kumasi Asante Kotoko.
Well, Kotoko are not losing, that's one thing. So perhaps they'll be thinking these tough games that we're dropping points, they need to put in a run of wins.
You are not losing, but you are losing points. It was goal difference, it's now 2 points difference. Yes, you are playing your original derby against Ashanti Gold. House of Folk is playing their bitterless rival in the team of Accra Great Olympics. If House of Folk should lose, and then probably Kotoko should win, what is the points difference? What? If Kotoko should lose and House of Folk should win, what's the points difference?
They're going away 5 points.
So to tell you that every game is important.
One of the reasons why the league should not be postponed.
Every game is very important.
Or should it?
It shouldn't be postponed, but the players that will give us that hype, the players that we're going to watch next week, wouldn't be available if we should play the game. And that is why I insist that, look, the right thing is to call off the week 28, wait for the players to join camp, because we cannot play a league without the top goal scorer.
We're going according to a timetable.
Yes, it's not. No, but
we have a timetable. The GPL must end at a certain time.
And if we have a timetable and we know we have a timetable, I don't think we'll be organizing or we'll be playing a friendly game. We have to go according to the timetable. And for me, this weekend has been a very difficult weekend. I'm not surprised, because as we move on, getting to the latter part of the league, we'll have difficult games, and just 17 goals in the
right. Gentlemen, look at this interesting dynamics. The points with Kotoko and Hearts, of course, 2 points. But what's also happening is that Hartlepool are not conceding. They're opening up their goal difference. Yes. That's quite an interesting one as well. They're not conceding and they're scoring. So that's an advantage they have. And as you rightly said, Kotoko would have to start winning to close the gap. And that's the only way. At this point, if Hearts win next weekend and Kotoko slip up, you could say that it's pole position. Hartlepool have at least 6 matches at the Accra Sports Stadium. That's huge.
Yeah, apart from the
huge advantage.
Apart from Brekum Chelsea, you say that Brekum Chelsea are not doing well in away games. Out of the 13, how many wins? They never won. They just drew 2 out of the 13. But in their next game, they'll be playing Kotoko at Accra Sports Stadium. They'll be playing Midyama at Accra Sports Stadium. They'll be playing Accra Great Olympics at Accra Sports Stadium. These are huge games. And I believe that, as the coach said, they are playing match after match. But it also depends on the other teams, how they also pick or how also they will also play their games. But at the end of the day, House of Folk have worked so hard, and I think that they deserve where they are now.
Okay, so the philosophy of Coach Amabwedu is beginning to gradually show itself. They're winning. You have to say that he's doing something right.
Of course, he's doing something right. He said that it will take time for his players to understand his philosophy. His players will pick whatever he's teaching them. And I think that the game that we witnessed today has proven that, yes, House of Folk players are being disciplined, House of Folk players are being picked, and they are doing very well in terms of pressing, running, defending, everything in terms of the play. House of Folk players have been able to do that. And I think that Samuel Godu should be given the credit. I think he's done so well with the team House of Folk.
Very finally, before we go, let's just complete a look at the table and see how it stands and know exactly what we're talking about. Lagos City's win has pushed them up unbelievably, 9th position. This was a team that was struggling a few weeks ago, and as you rightly said, you don't think they're going to go back down to those depths of relegation, Coach?
No, I told you earlier on that Bashir Ford was asked to come and take the team out of relegation, and I think it's on course. And for me, the game they played today was tactical. I mean, just stay back, let's play them, let's get a goal, and then make sure that we manage the goal or the game, which they did. And looking at from the 8th position of Adriana, 40 points, Dream Chelsea 7th 41, and then you talk of 42 with West Africa, that's Wafa, and then the 43 Mediama, 43 Karela, 44 Accra to Lagos, and Kumasi Asante Kotoko. So it is only Accra House of Folk that you can say that, yes, House of Folk has been able to push a little bit forward with the 2 points difference between them and Kumasi Asante Kotoko. But for Lagos Cities, I think they've done so well, because based on where they were and the kind of games that they were supposed to play and the games that they've played, I think that they've done very well at the positions that they have themselves.
And at the bottom, it's not looking good at all for Inter Allies, even though they won 2 points now. But they're hoping that Ebusuan Dwarves will drop points. Kim Fives will drop points. Today, Kim Fives did drop points. They're down there, but Inter Allies must win the remainder of their matches.
It's definitely going to be a difficult game. They have a game against Lagos City. They have a game against Kumasi Asante Kotoko. They have a couple of games to play, very difficult ones. At the end of the day, they won their game today, but still, they are still at the bottom of the league. And if they are not able to escape relegation, then they have themselves to blame. Because I said that the first one of the league that made them fall into the trap. And I think that they never thought they would have themselves, or they would found themselves at this position.
Yeah.
But for me, Ebusuan Dwarves and then the other team over there, that is
Kim Fives on top of it,
are struggling because of the points that they dropped today. Right. Liberty Professionals 29, Kingfisher 29. The next game of Liberty Professionals is going to be between Liberty and then Wafa. It's still the landlords,
right,
and the tenants. You go to Obuasi, the landlords and tenants. But I believe that Kingfisher, Cape Coast, and Ebusuan Dwarves and Inter Allies needs to work and work more. 7 matches to go, which is 21 points. That is a huge point.
Shabban, 7 matches to go, as Coach says. Defining moments, 7 is an interesting number.
Well, based on the league table, I think 7 games to go. But as it stands now, you can boldly say that for Inter Allies, they might not survive. But the remaining clubs are yet to be known, and that is a big surprise to see that we play in a league where 3 clubs will be relegated. But as it stands now, it's difficult to take 2 or 3 clubs and see that these clubs indeed are going to be relegated. And you look at the first 4 on the league log, Heart of Folk winning 5 consecutive games with just 2 points gap tells you that, yes, we are playing a very competitive league, because if you can win continuously in 5 games and still you can't widen the gap between the first, second, and third, it means that every club is doing something positive to get the league trophy. For Kumasi Asante Kotoko, I think in their game against Aduana Stars, they picked some positive. Why? In their last 4 games before the game, they've conceded 1 goal each. And then against Aduana Stars, it was a clean sheet. So that is another positive for them. And you look at Karela United, they started so well in the league. They fumbled. Olympics, in the second round, before the start of the second round, they were the team with most wins. And then now Heart of Oak have come on top with 14 wins, Asante Kotoko 12, Great Olympics 13. So Heart Olympics are doing well, and I can't wait to watch that game.
There are 3 A's, ABC 1, 2, 3, Accra, Ashanti, Accra, Great Olympics, Kotoko Heart, and perhaps the teams that everybody wants to watch in that right position. Arguably, I mean, it's subject to debate, but Heart of Oak, Kotoko, and the rest of them. Don't forget that Star Times continues to do it. 150 Ghana cedis only for you to get that decoder, the satellite dish, of course, the cable, everything that goes with it, and 51 matches for you to watch as far as the Euros are concerned. It's better to get it now than ever. And as I keep saying, it's a great gift. Somebody's birthday, anniversary, why did you get them a Star Times decoder? Apart from that, those of you who love National Geographic, I mean, the news, BBC, there's all the Al Jazeera. There's so much more to look forward to. And Odum, Papa Odum, one hardworking guy, he's bored like me, is celebrating his birthday. I don't know how old he is, but I'm sure I'm much older than him. Odum, happy birthday to you. And also to Lawrence Chikana, our director here in the studio, and all the guys out in the field, wherever you are. Thanks, and let's do it again next week. Bye for now.